As I've gotten older, I've really started to enjoy PC gaming more and more. And I just wanted to share some thoughts I've had on it now that I've gone through, my first major upgrade and just share some anecdote stuff. It's not console versus PC, but I am going to sort of talk about the experience, right? In 2016, I built my first PC. And prior to that, I had played PC games. I kind of grew up playing PC games, but it was always on a parent's machine, a hand-me-down. In 2011, I worked at a TV station in high school and in college. I saved up and I bought a Mac Pro because all of the workflow back then for most of the studios was Final Cut Pro 7 and the Mac ecosystem. And I bought a hard drive. I boot camped a copy of Windows 7 on it, and that really was my first real PC gaming experience on a rig that I owned. And the specs, they were not great. But there are so many games on PC that don't require insane specs. And one thing that I've noticed is I just love how your library of games can go from PC to PC so seamlessly without hassle. I recently just did the first upgrade for this 2016 PC. It's been the backbone of the channel since 2016. All the videos have gone through the machine, rendered on it, all that jazz. And doing this upgrade, it was pretty cool to just look and see games that I bought in 2011 that still work on this new PC, no issue, right? A game like Fallout 4, you bought 9 years ago, doesn't matter. I don't need a remaster, a remake, a definitive edition, or whatever in order to play it simply and easily. And I feel like that is an intangible that I'm only just now starting to appreciate. I have enjoyed consoles my whole life. I've held on to just about all of them, like my PlayStation 2, my N64, all that stuff. But from the 360-ish into the PS4, Xbox One kind of era, things have changed. Some of these games that I own, they're a little bit cumbersome. If I want to dust off a copy of a 360 game that I really like, I gotta pull the 360 out of the closet, hook it up to the TV, grab the disc, throw it in, and yeah, it works. But then you also have to start thinking about all the different flavors and ways you could play it. Okay, well, is this supported with backwards compatibility? Is it on Game Pass? Do I need to rebuy the new remastered definitive edition? All that stuff becomes kind of cumbersome and frustrating. And there's something just so clean and simple about knowing whatever PC that I own, I can pull up the game, I can install it, and it's most likely going to work. And if it doesn't, there's usually mods that go along with it. Take it a step further, coming off of the last video we just talked about. If you're willing to wait to buy games a year or two after they come out, the software savings you can get on PC is kind of ludicrous. It's insane how many games you can get for dirt cheap. Now, publishers have started picking up on this, and they are running some really great sales. So you can find the same kind of thing on console. And hey, let's be honest, ease of use, console is going to make a heck of a lot more sense for most people because it's plug and play. You don't need the fiddling, and I'm a different use case, right? On the PC side, this is something that can fulfill so many different roles, whether that's video editing, photo editing, maybe it's a workstation for you. It really plays on multiple levels, which is why, I can't say to everybody, go out there and save your money up and buy a crazy PC. Now, as consoles have gotten more expensive, right, and as they've started to do these pro variants, you really can build a pretty sick budget PC for not a ton of money these days. And a lot of the giant popular titles, they run on potato specs. So you can even get components that are a few years outdated and still enjoy so many of the top most popular, games. They're going to be the multiplayer ones and the Counter-Strikes, the Dotas, the Leagues, Valorant, all that kind of a thing. But there's just such crazy value there. And then also, if you own some of these games, right, that we've talked about previously, these retro libraries, you can play them through emulation, no issue. And you don't have to start dabbling in what I've been, trying to figure out. PlayStation 2, N64, these old analog video source consoles, you need a good upscaler, and they're pricey, It's getting better, but that space is really tough to sort of step your foot into, and so there's just so much utility on the PC side that is standing out to me. One of the big things, okay, that I've just noticed, and this is not, completely separate from PC and console. I think they both battle with this, but it's the whole ownership thing. So growing up, I don't know when your era was, but if you remember the iPod, the original Scroll wheel iPod. Shout out in the comments down below. I thought it was such a sick way to listen to music, and I still have my old 120 gigabyte iPod. The bottom of it's broken, so I need to get it fixed. I need to take it apart and see if I can mod it or whatnot. Purchased plenty of music on the iTunes store. It's like $1 a song, and I've got this big fat library. But I haven't been using, the iTunes library in years. I moved over to Spotify in 2013 and then fell out of it in, let's say, 2019-ish, because streaming has its benefits, it's got its downsides. One of the tasks that I've been trying to do is to pull out this big fat old library of music that I bought, only to find that it's just riddled with tons of DRM that I'm going to have to, painstakingly go through and rip out in order to just play the files that I purchased, the files that I should own. And then you just look at every road Apple is pushing you towards is their streaming service. They don't want you to own anything. And it baffles me because they were some of the pioneers in making one of the best MP3 players, such a good way to acquire music. And here we are 10, 15 years later, and they've purposely engineered every inconvenience possible to push you towards their streaming services. And this is what I'm seeing on the horizon. I don't think Game Pass is realistically going to survive this next roll. If the industry keeps going the way it is for the AAAs, the numbers don't make sense to me for Game Pass, and maybe that's a completely separate video, but it's an extremely long play for them, where you take a loss in the beginning, very long beginning, and maybe it pays off when you hit a certain level of scale. But I'm already starting to see it in the way Ubisoft is pricing their games. Star Wars Outlaws, Ultimate, Super, Deluxe, whatever, the full edition that gives you all the DLCs and the 3-day access early or whatever, it's $120, $130. Or you could just play on their subscription service. So you could just have base game, $70. You can have the gold edition, which gives you the season pass. The ultimate edition for $130. Or you can just pay $18 a month for their day one subscription. This is where everybody's going to be marching. Until something dramatic happens, I think it's only going to get worse, where you're going to see inconvenience engineered to where you don't own that software, to where you need to rebuy that software on the next piece of hardware or whatever it is. And I think all roads are going to start leading towards these subscription services. And there is immense value there, and some people may really jive with it. I've enjoyed Game Pass in the past, but for certain games, I just want to own it. And I want to own the complete version of that game without it breaking the bank. This is why digital stores like GOG are awesome, because it's DRM free. You own that thing. It doesn't need weird authentication garbage. It's yours. I don't know, more and more I'm just starting to enjoy the fact that hey, I bought a game in 2011. I can play it on this PC, and I'm going to be able to play it on the next PC. I don't have to think about buying a remake or remaster, an HD edition. I don't have to be disappointed that I didn't buy the Super Ultimate Deluxe or whatever. There's just something simple about it. Obviously, PC does not make sense. I would have never been able to save up enough to build a PC in high school, right? There's just no chance. So it is something I have to think about as a utility thing. It's not just for gaming, it's for, productivity and all these other elements. But if and when the next generation of consoles is revealed, I would be very intentional in doing research, looking at prices, thinking about the kind of games that you like to play, thinking about what's important to you, and then starting to price out what does that really look like. Because that upfront investment for the PC is substantial, but if you're interested in older titles, you can easily make up a lot of that value by targeting the ridiculous amount of great price software. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. I enjoy console gaming as well. It's just, there's industry stuff going on right now that feels a little dicey to me, and I think it's good to be very aware and cautious moving into this next phase. Hope everybody has a really good day. Once again, thanks for watching. We'll see you again very soon.